Hi, my name is Ralph Nyberg. This is a quick tutorial on how to use the Lightscreen application in the virtual classroom. Let's go ahead and get started here. Get my screen shared out. All right, the URL for obtaining Lightscreen is in the description of this particular video, but this is the home page for Lightscreen. After you get Lightscreen installed, you're going to have the little application dialog box when you're running Lightscreen. Now, what I want to focus on here is, first we're going to look at these different options. Okay. Now, I consider Lightscreen to be absolutely the best-in-class screen capture application out there in terms of usability in the virtual classroom, and some of the reasons for that, are really outlined in the options. One of the great things about Lightscreen is that a single hotkey will allow you to capture the screen and save it to a file without any interaction from you. And so the first thing you have to make sure that you specify here is the directory, okay, where Lightscreen is going to store its screenshots, and then you have the file names. I typically don't get real creative, with file names and things like that, but you certainly could. So my files are always called screenshot, but if you wanted to, you could come in with each individual class and you could name it for your class or put the date in there. Those are all things that you could in fact do. But it's important to know where your screenshots are going to actually be stored. And so you want to make sure that you go into the options and set up your general. From there, you're going to want to set up your hotkeys. Now you'll notice on mine that I only have one hotkey. Okay, that's it. And that is for capturing a screen area, okay? And I use Control Q. So now I can simply press Control Q and a quick little demo here. Control Q, Lightscreen. Well, I have to wait till I get out of this screen. But let me get out of this for a second. Go ahead and hit Control Q. You'll see here that I can then drag across my screen. I don't know how well this is showing up in the share, but as I drag across the screen, I click on the checkbox. Again, I'm not sure how well this is showing up in the shared environment with Google Hangouts, but right there, I quickly made that particular screenshot. Okay, and it automatically saves the directory, no interaction from me, and so it's a very, very, fast tool for, in fact, making screenshots. Okay, now going back to our options here. Okay. Again, you're going to want to bind your hotkeys, and you can do full screen, screen area, active window, window picker. Now, I only bind the screen area. And the other options here, do you want to see the icon in the system tray? Closing hides the main window. Hide Lightscreen when taking a screenshot. So do you want Lightscreen to disappear when you are, in fact, taking a screenshot? Okay. So, as I said before, I use this all of the time to create slides for my students or to create screenshots that they can download. If we go take a look at my screenshot directory, so here's some examples of, when I annotate a particular slide, let's bring this up, so this happens to be something that I annotated, you looking at it not having taken my class, this might not make a lot of sense to you, but the student who saw this slide in context, this makes sense to you. So as I annotate slides in class, I go ahead and I just save those slides, okay? I take quick screenshots of those slides, and then I allow those slides to be uploaded by my students. Okay, so that's a very useful thing for the students. So anytime I make changes or anytime I annotate information on a particular slide, I go ahead and turn it into a screenshot. Now, a lot of times I might want to, create a custom slide, and Lightscreen is great for that. For example, we can use Google Images, right? So if I type in IRP, okay, and then I go ahead and hit images, okay? And then I say, oh, that's a really useful picture, I might want to use that. So I click on that, and then I'm going to hold Control Q down here. Again, I'm not sure how well this is showing up, but I'm just dragging across my area and I'm selecting that screenshot. Okay. Now if I go back to my screenshot folder, there's a screenshot I just made. But sometimes our slides don't have a lot of white space, so here's another trick that I use. So right now, if I just upload this JPEG into my sharing app, then I'm going to have limited amount of space to write in. And let's say I wanted to do some annotation. Okay, and so in order to do that annotation, what I do typically, and let me kind of show you what I do, is I just right-click on that real quick, real quick, except my computer's not real quick today, and I say open with Paint. One of the awesome things about Paint is that you can just grab a corner and you can make that slide bigger. Okay, and then I just click close, ask if I want to save the changes, I click save, and now my screenshot looks like this. And so I have all this white space, okay, when I upload this as a slide where I can add my information that I want to annotate in. So for creating slides, it's great. You know, with electronic courseware, and we get to places in the book where you know, we have a Q&A session, but it's in the book, and a lot of students, you know, won't have their books open, right, because it's electronic format. They're running out of real estate and screen. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and quick, I don't know how well this is, again, how it's going to show up, but I hit Control Q, I drag across my questions, and then I click on the green check to save it. And then if we go back to my screenshot folder, now I've got a slide that I can upload into my application so all of my students can see the question without having to try and find it in their electronic courseware. So that's another place where I use Lightscreen. At the beginning of every class, you know, one of the things that I like to do is I like to take a screenshot of the class environment. I probably got one of them right here. Okay, and then what I'll do is there's a couple things that I want to point out. You know, for example, I show my students this is the recording button. You know, and you have to make sure that you remind me if you want to view the recording. I show them where the, you know, where the private chat is. Okay, so you know down here, you know, those are the tabs for the private chat. I also show them where the, you know, the full screen buttons are. And so I want to make sure that they know how to toggle back and forth between full screen. And so I show them where that stuff is. And so I can just take a quick screenshot of the environment and then just go through each of those things that are important to me from a student class experience perspective. So that's another instance where I'll use Lightscreen. Another example where, you know, I'll use Lightscreen, you know, it doesn't happen in every class, but you know, might be a situation where, you know, students may want to change their name, things like that. I can quickly just, you know, pull up information, or in this case, I guess with this particular slide, it was the audio setup wizard. I wanted to show my students, you know, where the audio setup wizard was. And so go to meeting, audio setup wizard. But you can describe that to the student, but literally you can show that stuff to the student, you know, using Lightscreen. Anytime you want, you just go ahead and just hit Control Q, and it'll make a slide. All right. So when I do my you know, when I use my Zoom It tool to create custom slides and things like that, I use Lightscreen to grab a capture of that. So there are just numerous uses for this Lightscreen application. And in terms of, you know, enhancing the student experience, you know, being able to, you know, grab things out of your electronic courseware. Maybe it's an image, you know, that you want that's in the book, but it's not in your slide deck, but you've got the electronic copy of the book open, so you can quickly, you know, grab that image. And the thing that, you know, I really like about it is that it's single click. You know, I just hit Control Q, I drag the area I want to copy, I hit a little checkbox, and then it auto saves it. You know, if you use something like the snipping tool or some of these other screen capture tools, you know, then you got to, so you capture the screen, and then you go and you know, you have to save your file, and it's just time consuming. Whereas Lightscreen, you know, all of that is automated. So you just, you know, Control Q, drag your area, check the box, boom, you got a slide. You can then upload that slide into Connect or your online application. So from a virtual classroom environment, you know, I really truly feel that that Lightscreen is, you know, far and away the best option for capturing screens. Whether you're capturing your slides that you've annotated so that you can allow your students to download those, or whether you're capturing an image so that you can create a slide, there are just numerous cases where Lightscreen is used in the classroom. I mean, you know, I run anywhere from probably 10 to 40 screenshots a day, depending on what I'm teaching. But you know, the students really do appreciate, you know, being able to download slides that have been annotated, and students also, you know, appreciate the fact that, you know, you can quickly create new slides out of images from the web that allow you to dive deeper into particular topics. And then also that one screenshot that I always take at the beginning of class just to show my students, here's the full screen button, here's the chat, here's the record button, is also, you know, very useful. So if you're not using Lightscreen currently, I would recommend that you try to integrate it into your classroom. The link to Lightscreen is part of the topic on this particular video, so if you look at the description of the video, you'll see the link to Lightscreen. It is also part of the portable app suite, which is another video that I'm going to make for resources. Thanks for listening, and I hope this helps.